What's in there?
He's avocado salt and homemade herb vinegar.
Vinegary, salty avocado. What kind of salt?
Sea salt.
Oh, sea salt. Look at these salts. We got 4 different types of salt on our counter right now. It's probably a lot more simple than you think. Simplicity is crucial, especially in diet. Right? There's certain things in life that we want to keep simple so that we can have more energy for other more important things that might be complicated and might require more of our mental, physical, and emotional faculties. You gonna have some beef heart rider? You gonna eat some? Diet shouldn't be an incredibly strenuous psychological journey or intellectual journey every single day. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff about keto out there is making it more complicated than it needs to be. So that's why we're always trying to teach simplicity. That's why all the recipes in Jessica's cookbook, the Ketogenic Edge cookbook, which we finally got in print. There's a link in the description where you can get that book in print now, finally. We're super stoked on that. But that's why all the recipes are simple, whole foods based recipes. We made the book essentially as a guide for clients so that we could teach people how to prepare food in their own kitchen. Shoot, when I first started preparing food for myself, I had no freaking idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to nourish myself. So in the beginning of keto, it's best not to overcomplicate things. You don't have to be a nuclear physicist to understand the basic mechanisms of ketosis. You restrict carbohydrates. You get sufficient protein. Notice I said sufficient protein because getting adequate protein for many people can be an issue on keto because they've been led to believe that every bite of protein is going to turn to glucose. Remember, gluconeogenesis is a simple process by which the body can convert amino acids, only certain amino acids, about 5% of most foods are readily available to be converted to glucose, but also gluconeogenesis can convert fat as well. So we get adequate protein, don't have to worry about gluconeogenesis, it's a demand-driven process. You keep your carbohydrates low, and fat is your energy source. So get enough protein, keep the carbs low. Fat is for energy. If you're like me and you don't have a lot of body fat to burn, if you're like me and you want to be eating more dietary fat because you're not trying to lose a bunch of body fat, but if your goal is body fat loss, the really, really cool thing about keto is it makes it super, super easy to tap into that body fat and to burn it. When your insulin levels are low, when your blood glucose levels are stable throughout the day, our hunger just isn't there. Ketones reduce hunger, and that allows us to burn body fat. But in the presence of excess dietary fat, of course our body's not going to tap into body fat, right? We store this fat on our body as a reserve tank. If you're driving a car and you've got a reserve gasoline tank in a modern vehicle, it's definitely not going to switch over to that reserve tank unless you have completely emptied out your primary tank. So, overeating on fats can cause stalls and fat loss. Now, many people can eat intuitively, right? Like I don't have to track macros anymore at this point. But that doesn't mean just because I don't have to track macros that it's not going to be effective or that my exact strategy will be effective for you. In the beginning, I had to track pretty diligently. So track in the beginning, get enough protein, keep those carbs low, about 20-30 grams net carb, or 50 grams total carb, depending on what you're eating. All right, don't try to eat a bunch of Quest bars and do the net carb game with those. Eat nutrient-dense whole foods. Keep it simple, keep it basic. And fat is the energy source. The fat you burn can either come from the body, from your belly, or it can come from the plate. So there it is. And there's one thing that so many people tend to miss on keto. There's one crucial aspect that's incredibly simple that a lot of people overlook, and that's electrolytes. Now I'm going to talk about the most easy electrolyte to keep in balance right now. The electrolytes are sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Well, calcium as well, but the ones we're going to focus on, sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Magnesium, I usually have people supplement with that because it can be hard to get sufficient magnesium in the diet. Also, stress depletes magnesium. Most people are very low in red blood cell magnesium. And it can be beneficial to supplement with that mineral. Potassium you get from diet, leafy green vegetables. Avocado is probably the best source. So, sodium is the easiest one to correct and the one that people get wrong the most. People have been told that salt is bad. We've been told that saturated fat's bad, that salt's bad, that the sun, we've been told that that's bad, and to avoid it, the sun's gonna give you cancer. Saturated fat's gonna give you cancer. Animal products are bad. We make it so freaking complicated, and there's so much cognitive dissonance around so many of these things that it can become overwhelming to people. Sodium has been demonized falsely for so many years. People think it's bad to eat salty, fatty foods. Well, let me tell you something. Salty, fatty foods are the crux of the diet that makes me feel the most alive, the diet that helps me to thrive, and salty, fatty foods are freaking delicious. So, salt is crucial. Salt is not bad for your blood pressure. In fact, about 95% of people aren't affected in their blood pressure by sodium intake at all. You are more at risk of being too low on sodium, which can cause insulin resistance, which can cause aberrant blood glucose, and all sorts of other negative downstream effects. So in a ketogenic state, your body dumps sodium. The absence of insulin tells your body to release water weight and thus sodium. When you're first starting out a ketogenic state, when you're first going ketotic, getting sodium in sufficient amounts is crucial. I usually recommend 5,000 to 7,000 milligrams minimum of sodium per day. And that can be easily achieved if you listen to your body. But most of us aren't really used to that, and it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes a little bit of training for us to actually understand the signals and the messages that our body is giving us. So what I usually tell clients and people who need help on keto is, if you're doing 3 meals a day, get at least a teaspoon of salt on each meal. At least, bare minimum. Most foods you eat are gonna have sodium in them as well, but you need to heavily salt your food. Salt it to taste, and get right up to the line where it almost feels too salty. And in between meals, when you get those little lulls in energy, you know, when you're on a glucose-based diet, if you're on a higher carb diet, if you're inflamed, if you don't sleep that well, halfway through the day, most people in general, halfway through the day, get a malaise. You know, they start to feel a little bit down, start to feel a little bit hungry or thirsty or tired or just out of it. If that happens, try this simple thing. Get some salt. Big pinch of salt. Like a 1/4 teaspoon even if you can handle it, or even a 1/2 teaspoon. Throw it in your mouth, let it dissolve, and see what your physiological response is. If it kind of tastes good, if it kind of feels nice in your mouth and almost tastes sweet, if you're not repulsed by it, then you're probably low in sodium, can use that sodium. Now, sodium depletion is one of the most common causes of the keto flu that so many people experience. If you don't want to get that keto flu, make sure to get salt in your diet. Now, a lot of people recommend Himalayan salt. It's no secret that I'm not a big fan of Himalayan salt. Most of the stuff, a lot of it's mined in Pakistan, but now a lot of it's being mined in China. Almost all the stuff that's mined out of Pakistan gets sent over to China, stored in huge warehouses, and then sold for way more than it's worth all over different markets in the United States, and a lot of it's really low quality. Yeah, I'm sure there's some really high quality stuff. The folks that we really like, Mountain Rose Herbs, I would wager that their Himalayan salt is probably a lot higher quality than stuff you're gonna find in other places, but still, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's actually high in certain minerals that are dielectric blockers, like fluoride. And it's not the best source of sodium, in my opinion. There are other salts that are better. Today, the salt that I used was a cypress flake salt. It's super, super good. The texture is so crunchy. They're like these little wafers in the shape of a pyramid. They're really amazing. We get it from Mountain Rose Herbs. It was a high quality company that's focused on food quality. We actually get a lot of our herbs and spices from them. Highly suggest you check out Mountain Rose Herbs. Shout out to Mountain Rose for keeping it real for years. No crazy fancy marketing, no ridiculous bulletproof biohacking nonsense. Just straightforward quality herbs and spices sourced from all over the world. So yeah, that's one of my favorite salts right now. There's also certain red salts, this Alalea red salt that they make, or that they don't make it, but they get it from Hawaii, and Mountain Rose has that one as well. And, you know, just straight up sea salt. You know, Celtic sea salt is a fantastic source of sodium. Probably a better source than that expensive Himalayan rock salt, to be honest. But hey, different strokes for different folks. Could be wrong. So anyways, there's a bunch of different types of salt out there. What I don't recommend using is like Morton salt or just normal table salt. There's a lot of anti-caking agencies that get used, caking agents that get used in those. There's a lot of filler stuff, and it's just low quality, stripped out of its vital nutrition. And when you look at sea salts and stuff like the cypress salt that's dried in the sun and it takes 2 years for it to cure, it gets these pyramidal structures, these incredible little hexagons in certain salts, and there's just amazing forms that salt takes, which obviously just represents different mineral compositions, different environmental conditions under which it's harvested and dried. So I'm really into just different sources of salt, and of course quality food. Right? To me, it's like I keep it simple, but that doesn't mean I eat friggin' hot dogs, bacon every day. Like, I eat quality stuff. Like, I'm really into, what I had this morning was grass-fed beef heart with just some eggs from my garden. So, beef heart and eggs with a bunch of sodium. A lot of salt. But anyways, keep it simple, guys. One of the things that most people overlook that's super, super simple is getting that sodium in. So make sure you're getting 5,000 to 7,000 milligrams of salt per day. Try to get at least a teaspoon of salt in with each meal. You're gonna find that your taste for salt and your desire for salt increases on a keto diet. Salt is not bad. You gotta get over that program. Salt, in fact, can help to stabilize your blood pressure. And when you're low in salt and your blood pressure drops, you know what happens? Your heart rate increases. Your heart even gets weaker. Your body gets weaker. You feel lethargic. Your cognitive faculties decline. Sodium depletion is a real thing. And salt is not bad for us. It is a required essential nutrient that mammals will travel thousands of miles for. Now, elephants will walk thousands of miles to get the salt licks and just lick that stuff up for hours. My dogs, if they're low in sodium. Look at Daisy, lazy ass Daisy. Daisy looks like she's low in sodium now. My dogs, when they're low on sodium, they'll lick rocks to get it. It's very, very important to get enough sodium, and it's one of the most easy minerals to balance. So get to know salt. Get to know your body's relationship with salt and how you feel when you're depleted in sodium. And if you eat too much of it, you know what happens? You just poop and pee it out anyways. So you're more at risk for being low on sodium than you are of having too much sodium. So keep it simple, keep it basic, and don't overcomplicate things. Get that sodium in.